The scent of freshly ground espresso, mixed with the faint citrus tang of disinfectant, floated through the high-ceilinged café, where marble counters met matte black steel, and money wore a fragrance all its own. In the heart of the morning rush, at Brooks Enterprises, suited professionals scrolled through emails on their phones, barked orders into Bluetooth earpieces, and exchanged polite half-smiles over designer pastries. Yet amid all the shine and polish, Emma Warren stood out not because of glamour, but because she moved like a woman holding her world together with both hands, and no margin for error. She balanced 3 ceramic plates on her arm as she weaved between tables, her faded black work shirt clinging to her back, damp with effort. One plate was stacked with an artisanal bagel tower, another with an omelet she couldn't pronounce, the third just toast, but requested at a very specific angle. She smiled at a man who didn't look up from his laptop and mouthed thank you to no one in particular. Her name tag read Emma, but that didn't begin to tell her story. 5 years ago, she had worn a cap and gown at Georgetown, graduating with honors in international relations. Now she wore rubber-soled shoes and a clock and badge, her degree collecting dust in a tiny frame above a leaking radiator in a Bronx apartment. Across the room, tucked quietly behind a potted fiddle leaf fig near the corner booth, sat Lily, her 7-year-old daughter, with golden hair braided into a lopsided plait and a German picture book open across her knees. Lily appeared content in her private corner of the world. Her legs dangled from the plush bench seat, gently kicking in time with the story she was mouthing in silence. Every few minutes, she peeked out to watch her mother, her blue eyes flickering with pride and quiet concern. Then, without warning, the soft trilling of an old flip phone pierced the hum of background jazz and murmuring executives. Emma turned her head sharply. She knew that ringtone. It was the emergency phone, a cheap prepaid one they kept in Lily's bag just in case. Lily fumbled for it, the book sliding off her lap. She answered quickly, her tiny voice clear and polite. Guten Morgen, ja. Mean Mutter Arbeit Gerard. Heads turned briefly, then dismissed it as background noise, all except one, Lucas. Reinhardt sat alone at the far end of the cafe, cloaked in shadows and silence. He preferred this spot, near the frosted glass divider and far from curious eyes. Most employees barely registered him, fewer still dared interrupt him. With a jaw like a chiseled statue and silver-flecked temples, the billionaire CEO of Brooks Enterprises was a man whose reputation preceded him by miles. Ruthless, brilliant, unreachable. But now, something pierced his armor. He looked up slowly from his tablet, brows furrowing. The cadence, the inflection. Lily wasn't just speaking German, she was speaking it perfectly. With the subtle lilt of southern Germany. A child shouldn't sound like that. She shouldn't sound like her. Lucas leaned forward, heart knocking, once against his ribs in something dangerously close to recognition. He stared at the girl, at the line of her shoulders, the precision in her answers. His throat tightened, something he hadn't felt in years. His tablet screen dimmed as he set it aside. Without removing his gaze from the child, he tapped his smartwatch. Anya, he said quietly when his assistant answered. I want a full profile on the woman serving table 9. Emma Warren. I also want everything you can find on the little girl she brought with her today. There was a pause. Understood, sir. He ended the call and leaned back, eyes never leaving the small girl, now flipping her book back open. She'd ended the call with a polite "Auf Wiedersehen" and tucked the phone back into her faded backpack, like it was nothing. But to Lucas Reinhardt, that call had just changed everything. By the time Emma returned home that evening, the rain had turned to sleet. She held Lily in one arm and a paper bag with bruised apples in the other. Fingers stiff with cold and exhaustion, the building's elevator was out again, so they climbed 5 stories to their one-room apartment, where the heat hissed and clicked, but offered little warmth. Inside, Lily curled onto the mattress they shared, immediately absorbed in her coloring book. Emma peeled off her soaked shoes, kneeling beside the electric heater. Her mind buzzed. Lucas Reinhardt. That name hadn't been spoken aloud in the cafe, but she recognized the man the moment she saw his reflection in the espresso machine. Tall, lean, impeccably dressed. The owner of everything. She hadn't known he was in the cafe until Lily answered that call. She should have known something had shifted. The moment the atmosphere thickened when her daughter's soft, fluent German echoed through the polished silence. But it wasn't just the billionaire's presence that unsettled her. It was the way he looked at Lily, not with the passing curiosity of a stranger, but with the haunted scrutiny of a man seeing someone he wasn't prepared to find. Emma shook the thought off. Paranoia was a luxury she couldn't afford. The next morning, she clocked in as usual. She wasn't on the floor 5 minutes before her manager approached, fidgeting. "Emma, the CEO has requested you in the executive tower. You're to take the express elevator. Now." She blinked. "I'm just floor staff." He didn't make eye contact. Not today, when the express elevator doors slid shut behind her. She felt like she was being transported into another world. The air was colder here, cleaner, quieter. When she stepped out, the hallways were marble and glass, and no one spoke above a whisper. An assistant in a pale blue suit greeted her. With a tight smile, "Miss Warren, Mr. Reinhardt will see you now." His office was cathedral-like floor-to-ceiling windows looked out over Manhattan like a private Olympus. Lucas sat behind a dark oak desk, his back straight, hands clasped. He didn't rise to greet her, nor offer her a seat. "You're fluent in German," he said plainly, eyes boring into her. Emma bristled. "I grew up near the German embassy. In D.C. my ex was German. We spoke it at home." He nodded once. "Your daughter Lily, her accent is native. Exceptional. Where was she born?" Emma took a step back. Her voice hardened. "Is this some kind of quiz, Mr. Reinhardt? Because if this is about Lily being in the cafe, I didn't have child care. This isn't disciplinary," he interrupted. "It's personal." That made it worse. "I'm sorry, sir," she said, pulling her coat tighter. "But I don't share my personal life with strangers, even powerful ones." She turned. But his voice halted her. "Dominic Keller, does that name mean anything to you?" The blood drained from her face. She hadn't heard that name in 7 years. "He was Lily's father," she whispered, without turning. "He disappeared before she was born, and you don't get to say his name." Lucas's voice softened, not kind, but remorseful. "I knew him." She spun around. "You knew Dominic." He rose slowly from his chair and walked toward the window. "He was more than a colleague. He was my half-brother." Silence stretched like glass between them. "Liar," she said, the word trembling out of her mouth. "I wish I were," Lucas replied, his voice quieter now. "Dominic worked in international security. We were part of the same Black Cell initiative. Before he defected, he was trying to expose something he shouldn't have. I was forced to clean up the fallout, and in doing so, I helped him disappear." Emma stared, heart pounding. The world tilted under her feet. "Disappear," she echoed. "You knew where he was this whole time. You knew he left me to raise a child alone." Lucas's jaw clenched. "No, I thought he was dead, until your daughter answered that call." A long silence. "I want a DNA test," she said, quietly furious. "And if you're lying, if this is some power play." "I'm not," Lucas said, "and I don't care about power. I care about Lily, because if Dominic is still alive, then she may be in danger." Emma's spine stiffened. "From who?" Lucas didn't blink. "The same people who tried to kill him." A cold wind from the window ruffled the papers on his desk. For the first time, Emma saw something beneath. The man's polished exterior, a flicker of guilt, regret, and maybe fear. "We don't have much time," Lucas said, "and if you want to protect her, you need to trust me." Emma didn't answer. She only looked past him, out over the skyline, and wondered just how much of her past had been stolen and how much of her future might now be. Emma didn't sleep that night. She sat on the edge of her mattress, the city's orange glow leaking through the cracked blinds behind her. Lily had long since drifted into a peaceful slumber, thumb tucked beneath her cheek, her breath soft and even, but Emma's mind refused to still. She kept hearing his name, Dominic, echoed in Lucas Reinhardt's voice, cold, controlled, familiar. She'd spent years erasing that name from her heart, years believing he died, or worse, chosen to vanish. But if Lucas was telling the truth, then everything Emma had built to survive had been based on a lie. And now, he was offering what? Protection, information. She didn't trust it. She didn't trust him. Yet something about his face in that office haunted her. That moment, when he said Lily might be in danger, it hadn't been rehearsed. It wasn't the performance of a billionaire playing rescuer. It was something raw. Fear, maybe, or guilt. The next morning, before the sun climbed over the skyline, a sleek black car pulled up outside her building. Lucas hadn't given her a choice. The message was clear. You're coming whether you want to or not. She kissed Lily's head and left her in the care of Mrs. Rodriguez, then stepped into the waiting vehicle. She wasn't sure what scared her more, the secret she might uncover or the one she already knew and hadn't faced. The drive took her far beyond the buzz of Manhattan, through security checkpoints she didn't know existed, past iron gates that opened with facial recognition and sealed behind her like the doors of a vault. Lucas's private compound sat like a fortress carved into the hillside. Stark, modern architecture fused with old-world austerity, glass, concrete, and silence. Everything about it whispered control. Emma was led into a high-ceilinged conference room where Lucas waited, not in a suit this time, but in dark jeans and a fitted sweater. He looked like a man disarmed, but not relaxed. On the wall behind him, a massive screen flickered to life. A digital map of Europe lit up, cities flashing like heat signatures. A red dot blinked on Berlin, another on Zurich. A third hovered dangerously close to New York. "What is this?" Emma asked. Lucas didn't answer immediately. He reached into a drawer, retrieved a folder, and slid it across the table. Inside were classified intelligence files, many blacked out, others bearing Dominic's name, photo, and multiple aliases. Emma's hands trembled. These files weren't easy to retrieve, Lucas said quietly. Dominic didn't just defect from his agency. He stole something. Data. Sensitive. Dangerous. She looked up. Dangerous to who? To everyone. He replied. There was an experimental ledger tracking system for political black ops. It was meant to keep certain governments accountable. But when Dominic tried to bring it into the light, he realized what he was actually holding. Proof of extrajudicial assassinations, corporate espionage, and financial corruption involving half a dozen world leaders. Emma blinked. You're saying he, what, exposed them? No, Lucas said, eyes dark. He vanished before he could, but they believe he passed it on. Emma's voice cracked. To who? Lucas didn't flinch. To you. Her heart dropped into her stomach. That's insane, she whispered. Dominic left nothing. No message. No files. No anything. I would know if he had. Lucas leaned forward. Would you? You were pregnant. Grieving. Surviving. He knew you wouldn't. Go looking. That's exactly why he chose you. Emma stood abruptly, pushing the chair back. This is insane. Lucas's voice turned ice cold. Someone broke into your apartment last week. She froze. What? I had your place swept yesterday. Someone rifled through your bedroom. They didn't take anything, because they were looking for something very specific. Emma's head spun. Her voice was barely audible. Lily was there. They were smart enough to avoid detection. This time, silence filled the space like fog. I brought you here, Lucas said, softer now, because they're getting close, and I can't protect your daughter if you won't let me. Emma sat down slowly, fist clenched in her lap. So, what's your angle? She asked bitterly. Guilt? Family loyalty? Or do you want what Dominic was hiding? Lucas's gaze didn't waver. I want to keep his daughter alive. That's all that matters now. The words hit like a stone. After a long pause, Lucas reached into his coat and placed something on the table. A small, unmarked USB drive-in. A clear protective case. This was hidden in a hollowed-out copy of Faust that Dominic left in my possession. Before he vanished, Lucas said, encrypted. He wrote one name in the accompanying note, Emma. Emma stared at it. I think. Lucas said, you're about to find out exactly what he trusted you with. Emma didn't touch the USB drive for a long time. It lay on the polished wood table between her and Lucas like a live explosive. Tiny, unassuming, but saturated with too many possibilities. In her chest, her heart beat a war drum of fear and defiance. Behind her eyes, everything she had believed about the past began to dissolve. She wasn't a waitress, not just a single mother. She was a key, a vault she hadn't known she carried. Where does it lead? She asked finally. Lucas shook his head. I don't know. The encryption is deep, military grade. We need the right key. The files are titled in code letters, dates, odd German idioms. But one word kept appearing over and over. Megkin. Emma's eyes narrowed. Girl. Lucas nodded grimly. My instinct says it's Lily. The room suddenly felt too small, the oxygen thinner. Emma stood, backing away from the table like the drive itself had turned toxic. I didn't ask for this, she said, voice low and trembling. I didn't ask to be part of some espionage thriller, or to have my daughter used as bait in a game Dominic started and never finished. I just wanted to keep her safe, and I'm telling you, Lucas said, rising, you never had that option. Not really. Emma turned sharply. Then why wait until now? Why not warn me years ago? He exhaled. Because I believed he was dead, and because the people hunting for this data, they disappeared too. Until a month ago, until Berlin, until someone started asking questions in the Bundestag about Operation Feldstein. That's when the blood trail restarted. Emma swallowed. What happened in Berlin? Lucas tapped his tablet. A blurred image of a man walking through a crowded square appeared on the screen. Surveillance footage. The timestamp blinked. 3 weeks ago. The man's back was turned, but Emma didn't need to see his face. She felt it. That tilt of the head. That stance. The way he walked like he was always half ready to run. It was Dominic. She sank into the nearest chair, her legs giving. Out beneath her. You're sure? She whispered. Lucas nodded. I had the footage enhanced. It's him, no doubt. Emma's fingers curled against the armrest. So he's alive, but still running. Lucas hesitated. No. I think he's coming back. A heavy silence passed. Between them. He doesn't trust me, Lucas admitted, but I think he trusts you. Which means you and Lily are now at the center of something very old and very unfinished. Then he opened a drawer and pulled out a thick, leather-bound journal, aged, scarred, its pages held together by a worn ribbon. This was sent to me anonymously 2 days after the Berlin footage surfaced, Lucas said. No return address, no fingerprints, but inside, there's a cipher. He opened it to a page filled with numbers, symbols, and odd phrases in German. One line stood out handwritten in faded ink. Schlüssel ist im Leiddeckens, Emma translated. It aloud. The key is in the child song. Lucas looked up. Does Lily sing? Emma stared at him, unsure whether to laugh or scream. She sings all the time. Lucas nodded. Then we're already out of time. That night, Emma returned home, not to the chaos of her usual world, but to silence that felt wrong. She climbed the stairs slowly, heartbeat quickening. The hallway lights flickered. Her door stood ajar. She rushed inside. The apartment had been turned inside out. Drawers dumped, mattresses flipped, books shredded. Lily's backpack was unzipped on the floor, contents strewn everywhere. And Lily was gone. Her scream shattered the silence, raw and primal. Within minutes, Lucas's security team arrived, swarming the building, scanning for cameras, breaking encryption. On neighborhood feeds, Emma was shaking, barely upright. Her entire body screamed with maternal panic. Then her phone buzzed. Unknown number. One message. You want the child? Bring the drive. Tomorrow, 9 p.m. Chelsea Pier. Come alone. Emma collapsed to her knees, the screen falling from her hands. Lucas. Read the message over her shoulder. He didn't speak. He didn't need to. The war had begun. And Lily was now the price for secrets buried in blood, shadow, and betrayal. The city glared back at Emma in fractured reflections, glass, metal, and midnight rain. From the rooftop of Lucas's penthouse, the skyline of Manhattan burned like an electric scar across the horizon. But Emma didn't see it. Her eyes were fixed on the old USB drive, now hanging from a thin chain around her neck. They took her daughter, her little girl, whose biggest worry yesterday had been whether their dinner would have cheese. Now some faceless predator had her. And the only ransom they wanted was something Emma didn't even understand. She didn't sleep, didn't speak. She just stared out at the city while Lucas's entire operations team spun around her like a digital hurricane. Surveillance grids, satellite analysis, facial recognition across the tri-state area. Black SUVs roared into garages and out again. Drones launched into the night sky. None of it made her feel closer to Lily. Inside the war room, Lucas reviewed the message again and again. Come alone. Bring the drive. No police. Of course it's a trap. He muttered. They want to flush out anyone connected to Dominic, especially Emma, and especially me. Emma stood in the doorway, soaked from head to toe in rain, her hair clinging to her skin. I'm going, she said flatly. No, you're not, Lucas replied without looking up. She walked in slowly, calmly, but her voice cracked like glass. You don't get to decide what I do anymore. That's my child. I don't care what intel you have or what protocols your people follow. I'm going, and I'm bringing the drive. Lucas turned toward her, jaw tight. You're walking into a kill box, he said. She took another step forward. Then I'll die standing up. A beat of silence. Then Lucas tossed his tablet onto the table. You think you're the only one who cares about her, he snapped. Lily is all I have left of Dominic. She's my niece. You think I'd let anything happen to her? Emma's voice lowered. Then help me get her back. But you're not going in my place. And you're not negotiating for me. Lucas paced, fury in his eyes, but it wasn't aimed at her. It was aimed at everything else himself, his past, the men chasing them like ghosts. Finally, he stopped. That we don't go to the pier. Emma frowned. What? We send them to the pier. Let them think you're coming. But we'll be somewhere else intercepting them before they ever get the chance to run. Emma shook her head. They'll kill her. Lucas walked to a secure cabinet, withdrew a velvet box, and opened it. Inside was a small gold brooch, innocent looking, elegant. It's a tracker, he said. Lily's coat. Our team embedded it last month after we got wind of surveillance. It's dormant unless activated remotely. I've kept it off to avoid detection, but now. He tapped his phone. The tracker pulsed green. She's alive. Moving. Rough estimate. They've stashed her in the lower docks. South Warehouse. You go to Chelsea Pier like they said. Keep the drive with you. We'll intercept the extraction team and recover Lily before the handoff even happens. Emma stared at him. You really think they'll let me walk away if I give them the drive? Lucas didn't flinch. I don't think you're walking into a trade. I think you're walking into a burn. Emma clenched her jaw. Then let's make them regret lighting the match. Chelsea Pier was soaked in a wet fog. The kind that felt like it crawled into your lungs. The Hudson rolled black and endless. A whisper of waves breaking against the rusted dock supports. Emma stood beneath the arc of a flickering sodium light, wearing a heavy coat that made her shoulders look broader than they were. Beneath it, the USB was secured inside a reinforced pouch. A figure approached from the mist hall, wrapped in black, face obscured by a hood. You came alone, the voice rasped. Emma's throat tightened. Where's my daughter? The figure tilted its head. You're braver than I thought, or dumber. Suddenly, behind them movement. From three directions, dark-clad figures emerged like wraiths from the shadows, each carrying suppressed firearms. Emma froze. No weapon, no plan, but faith. The lead figure extended a gloved hand. The drive. Emma slowly reached into her coat, pulling it free, but she didn't hand it over. Instead, she stared directly into the figure's eyes. You want it? Show me she's alive. The man smirked. You're not negotiating. A sudden snap echoed in the distance, then another dot, then chaos. A drone dropped from the sky like a burning star, slamming into the dock with a shattering hiss. Gunfire cracked. Emma dropped to the ground as Lucas's extraction team burst from the shadows, tactical gear gleaming. One of the attackers grabbed Emma, dragged her backward, then a flash of motion, and he fell with a dart in his neck. Lucas himself emerged from the mist, pistol drawn. He grabbed Emma by the arm. She's safe. He shouted over the chaos. They moved her South Warehouse. We're en route. Emma didn't wait. She ran, heart exploding in her chest, wind in her lungs like fire. They found Lily 14 minutes later, curled up in an old shipping container, blanket wrapped around her shoulders. Eyes wide but unbroken. When she saw Emma, she leapt into her arms without a sound. She didn't cry. Neither of them did. Not yet. But in Lily's fist was a slip of paper, folded, coated, and in her ear taped. Hidden beneath her hair was a tiny earpiece. Emma held her tighter as Lucas scanned the paper. His face went pale. What is it? She asked. He looked up at her, voice barely above a whisper. It's a location and a message. She took the paper and read it. They're coming for the girl. Go to where I buried the truth. The key is still in the song. Be Emma's heart. Stop. Dominic was alive. And he'd left them one last trail to follow. The rain hadn't stopped for 2 days. It drummed against the bulletproof windows of the black SUV as it sped through New Jersey's industrial outskirts. Weaving between ghostly warehouses and forgotten overpasses, the city had bled into the background. What remained now was silence, headlights, and an address scribbled by a dead man's hand. Go to where I buried the truth. Lucas hadn't spoken in 20 minutes. Emma sat beside him, Lily asleep across her lap, small fingers curled tightly into her mother's coat. She hadn't let go since the rescue. Her eyes would flinch open at sudden sounds, but she hadn't spoken since they pulled her from that container. She hadn't even asked where they were going. Emma held the note again, her thumb brushing the word song. She whispered it under her breath. The key is still in the song. What song? She finally asked, her voice dry from worry. Lucas didn't answer at first. Then he pulled out his phone. scrolled through something, and turned the screen. Toward her, a video, black and white, grainy, from years ago. A young man with sharp cheekbones and a mischievous grin sat at a weathered piano. In a Berlin apartment, a girl stood behind him, laughing. She looked like Emma, but it wasn't her. It was Lucas's sister, Sophia, Lily's real mother. The song Dominic played was haunting, simple, for notes repeated like a lullaby. Emma blinked. That's Lily hums that sometimes. Lucas nodded slowly. She heard it in the womb. Sophia said it used to calm her when nothing else could. That song, it was their code. Emma looked down at the folded paper again. You think he buried something where this was recorded? Lucas tapped the coordinates into the GPS. The map zeroed in on a suburban house just outside Princeton, New Jersey, my father's safe house. He said Dominic lived there for 6 months after the BND turned on him. That was before Sophia disappeared. He didn't say died. Not anymore. The closer they got, the more Emma's stomach twisted. The implications weren't just terrifying, they were impossible. If Dominic was alive, he hadn't just faked his death. He had abandoned them, and now, he wanted them to come to him. But why now? Why after so many years? Why leave Lily a message through a kidnapper? The house was abandoned. At least, it looked that way. They approached it slowly. No lights. No power. Lucas gave Emma a silenced pistol. He carried a Glock and something heavier slung beneath his coat. They left Lily in the SUV under encrypted lock and camera watch. The two of them moved as one, sweeping the entry, clearing the dark hallways. Every creak of the floor felt like a shout. Emma found the piano first. Dust covered, keys yellowed, but still intact. She pressed one, the same first note of the lullaby. Nothing. Then the second, then the third, and on the fourth, click, a panel opened in the baseboard. Lucas dropped to one knee and pulled it free. Inside, an old cassette recorder, a black notebook wrapped in plastic, and a small velvet bag. Emma took the notebook. Every page was handwritten in Dominic's precise scrawl. It wasn't a diary. It was a kill list. Names, coordinates, asset IDs. Government officials, private contractors, Lucas's father, Emma's name, and under it, circled twice in red, Lily. Her breath caught. Lucas stood, holding the velvet pouch. He opened it slowly. Inside was a necklace, gold, antique, and unmistakably Russian. He froze. Emma, he whispered, this belonged to my mother. Sophia wore it every day. Emma looked at the cassette recorder, heart thudding. Play it. Lucas inserted the cassette and pressed play. At first, only static, then a voice, Dominic's. If you found this, then either I'm dead or I've run out of time. What you think you know about me is a lie. What they told you about Sophia's death, about Lily's birth, all of it was to keep you blind. He paused. Emma, if you're hearing this, I'm sorry. I never meant for it to fall to you. You were never supposed to know. But they found Lily. They know what she is now. Another beat. She's not just a child. She's the key to unlocking everything. Our bloodlines weren't an accident. The project began before we ever met. You were chosen. I was trained. And Lily was engineered. Emma's knees gave out. She sat down hard on the piano bench, staring at the floor as Dominic's voice kept unraveling her reality. They'll come for her, not for who she is, but for what she can do. You've seen it. The languages, the memory, the dreams. Lucas was shaking his head in disbelief. No, this is impossible. Dominic's voice turned urgent. You must protect her. The organization inside the BND, they call themselves Urban, the Inheritors. They believe Lily is proof of concept, the final phase. If they get her, they won't kill her. Static. Then silence. Then a new voice, distorted, female. Well done, Emma. You followed the trail. Lucas lunged for the cassette, but it was already delayed. We know where you are, and now, you know the truth. Emma stared in horror as the voice dropped to a whisper. Your daughter doesn't belong to you. She never did. The window. Behind them, shattered flash grenades exploded into the room. Black shadows flooded the hallways with laser sights and gas masks. Emma tried to scream, to run, but everything went white and then, nothing. Pain bloomed slowly, like fire beneath Emma's skin. Her eyes cracked open, the fluorescent lights cold. Sterile, humming above her, the air smelled metallic, to clean. She tried to move. Her wrists were strapped to a steel gurney, arms splayed. Like a crucifix, medical tape across her veins. Panic surged, swift and brutal. Where was Lily? She thrashed, screaming hoarsely, Lily, where's my daughter? A soft hiss answered her. Gas. No morphine. Her pulse slowed against her will, but her mind clung to clarity, riding adrenaline like a lifeboat in a storm. Then she heard the voice. You're awake. Emma turned her head. A woman in a white lab coat approached, her heels to quiet on the floor. She was older, maybe 60, with high Slavic cheekbones and silver hair in a tight bun. Her ID badge read, Dr. Vera Hallstrom, Division, Urban Genetic. Directive. Not BND, not CIA, something else. Something buried. Vera didn't smile. You're lucky we found you first. Reinhardt's private strike team nearly compromised everything. Where's Lily? Emma snapped. She's safe, safer than she's ever been. You bastards took her. Vera didn't flinch. We recovered her. She's not yours, Emma. She never was. That sentence broke something in Emma. I carried her for 9 months. I raised her. I held her through fevers, nightmares, hunger. Her voice cracked. Don't tell me she isn't mine. The doctor tilted her head. She's your daughter by nurture, but biologically, she is something far rarer. She tapped a tablet, pulling up a grainy black and white ultrasound dated 8 years ago. Tagged with subject 3 to 9S, phase omega. The image displayed not 1 embryo, but 2. Emma's mouth went dry. That's not possible. 1 was terminated. Lily lived. Her genetics were stabilized using code derived from Sophia Reinhardt's DNA in yours. You weren't chosen at random. You were the final viable womb. Note Emma whispered. I don't understand. She was engineered, Emma. A perfect linguistic memory, neurological response beyond human average. Emotional empathy designed for control. She's a child, Emma spat. You're talking about her like she's a machine. Vera's expression hardened. She's more than a child. She's the convergence of 2 bloodlines bred for intelligence, adaptability, and trust. With time and training, she can decode global encryption systems just by listening. Influence targets through voice modulation. She is the apex evolution of espionage. Emma shook her head violently. She doesn't want that. She wants to be a normal girl. She doesn't have a choice. She's already activating. The German? That was instinct, not education. She's begun to remember things she was never taught. We estimate full unlock by age 9. Emma's voice broke. Where is she? She's being prepped for transition. Don't worry. She asked for you. Emma's heart leapt. Take me to her. Vera hesitated, then nodded. They led Emma down endless corridors. Silent white tunnels. With no signage, inside one room, behind a glass wall, Lily sat at a table, calm, almost serene. Electrodes dotted her temple. Her storybook lay open beside a laptop. Emma pressed her hand to the glass. Lily. The girl turned and smiled. Hi, Mama. Emma nearly collapsed. I've been waiting for you, Lily said, her voice different. Now softer, colder. They said you'd come. Emma stared, horrified. What have they done to you? They didn't do anything, Lily replied calmly. I remembered. Remembered what? Sweetheart. Lily looked down at her hands. Who I'm supposed to be. She touched the electrodes. These help, but I already knew. I dreamed in Russian last night, then Arabic, then code. The voices teach me things. I think I used to be here before I was born. Emma turned to Vera, furious. Let her go. Let us both go. We can't, Vera said simply. She's the only one left. But then, boom, a deafening explosion rocked the walls. Alarms blared. Red lights flooded the corridor. The ground shook beneath them. Vera's eyes widened. No, he can't be here. Glass shattered. Smoke filled the air. And out of the chaos came Lucas Reinhardt, bloodied, armor-clad, dragging the urban guards by their throats. His eyes locked onto Emma's. I told you I wouldn't let them take her. Lily stood calmly amid the chaos, not afraid, not panicking. She looked at Lucas, then Emma, and said, They're not done yet. From down the hall came another. Sound something deeper. Mechanical doors hissing open. Emma grabbed Lily. We're getting out. Lucas tossed her a gun. Left corridor. Extraction teams waiting outside. I'll hold them. You're not sacrificing yourself again. I'm not. He smiled faintly. This time. We all go home. But Lily was staring back toward the hall. No. Someone else is coming. A tall figure emerged through the smoke. Dominic alive. Half burned, limping, his eyes hollow and wild. He raised his hands and whispered, "They lied to all of us."